I'm live. Good morning. My name is Sarah Fenlon Falk, and I am the author of Finding Myself Facing Cancer, Keeping It Together, a patient's companion through decision making, and the soon to be released Sage Cheval series for middle grade readers. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about how to write a book. And to start out, let me show you my sassy t-shirt. I've got the Don't Judge a Book or Never Judge a Book by its movie. I love this t-shirt. It's so sassy. It's one of my favorites. Anyway, I wanted to write this, or I wanted to talk about this because I'm going to be blogging about it as well. How to write a book. And here's the bottom line. There's no one way to write a book. There's no guideline. Now, I say that, I throw that out there, and what I mean by that is, here's my experience. So I've been caught up in all of the info. Like, I consume so much YouTube. I just love my YouTube, and I feel like I learned so much here. But then I was just becoming so overwhelmed with all of the info for writing a book, marketing a book, for publishing. Since I'm an independently published author, I felt like I needed all of these tips and tools. And yes, I do. But then I was becoming so overwhelmed, like, okay, but which one do I use, or what way do I go? And I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm one who will take information and really just want to use it. And you can't do 199 things to market your book. You have to pick some things. So regarding writing, publishing, and marketing, all of those things, I want to share with you what I'm learning and how I'm growing and what I'm choosing. So here's the idea, is that I want to talk about things that are foundational, because there are foundational things to writing, obviously. There are some things that are foundational to being an independently published author, that just steps that you need to take if you're going to have longevity in the field, that you need to, again, look at this as a business. And so if that's you and you're interested in hearing what I'm learning and what I'm choosing, then great. So we'll talk about the foundations, obviously, but we are going to talk about the options, and it's the options that I'm going to be weighing out. And so some of the things that I'm just considering right now for myself, and that you may want to consider for yourself too, are the following 3 questions. And these aren't anything new, and you've probably heard these if you've listened to any amount of Joanna Penn on the creativepenn.com, or any amount of other maybe marketing-minded people, or even other self-published or independently published authors. So it's probably not new. But this is where I'm at. This is what I'm going to be considering for myself. And so I just encourage you to, consider it for yourself as well. So the first thing, and don't you love my little snoozy puppy in the background? That's Molly. She's my trained therapy dog. I love Molly. Okay, she must be very tired because she didn't even flinch at the sound of her name. Anyway, okay. So what to consider as you approach writing or independently publishing, etc. The first thing is more towards marketing, because for me, I'm like, okay, I have a couple books that I've already released. And since those are out, what would I like to do with those? So what I'm considering now is social media, and kind of getting the word out about my books and just different ways to promote the books. So the question that I'm considering is, what am I already doing? I already said that I'm always on YouTube, so I feel like it's nice to be able to consume all this content, but I would really like to also be a contributor. So that's really my focus, is to start contributing. Now, that being said, it's not completely organic because I have very poor production skills, shall we say. So that's why I'm live, and that's the way it's going to be for just a little bit. And I did a video series before on living well, and didn't seem to have too much trouble there, but we'll see how this goes. Okay, so then the next kind of idea about that is, how do you best express yourself? So what are you already doing? Like what social media are you a part of right now? Who are you already in conversation with? And how do you best express yourself? So if you are better at talking, then maybe you want a podcast or a YouTube channel. If you're better at writing, maybe centering around a blog and kind of getting the word out. Hey, I'm writing this thing, or I'm starting to read. So there are options, but just considering, what am I already doing about my writing? The second question is, and I think this is foundational, so maybe I'm going a little backwards, but foundational to getting started. So what is your goal, your mission, or what do you want the end result to be? Why are you writing? And I know I write in different genres. So for me, I write nonfiction, and it's very specific. It's for people who have survived cancer or cared for someone who's survived cancer or not survived. So it's cancer related, and it's all about like making it through the tough times. So that's pretty narrow. That's a narrow genre, and there's quite a spiritual bend to it. So that puts it in an even smaller niche or niche. So there's that. And I write those things to encourage and support the cancer patient and their family. And that's really why I do that. I lay everything on the line. I talk very openly. I've had bone cancer and breast cancer. So I talk very openly about those things. So that's that side. But I'm now branching out into middle grade fantasy and adventure. And so I want to encourage young readers to keep reading and perhaps even start writing, because that would just be awesome. And I have 4 young boys, and I just want them to keep reading, and I want them to grow in their creativity. And I just believe that a mind that spends time in books just has a greater capacity for imagination. And maybe I'm being biased, but I don't think so. Anyway, so what is your goal? What is your mission? What is the end result? Another piece of that is, do you want to make a living with your writing? Do you just want to do it because you enjoy it and you think it's fun? That kind of thing. So there's no right or wrong. It's just considering what you want from it and where you're going. And that's taken a little bit from Joanna Penn's keynote speech at the Indie Author Con conference this weekend, so, which I'm still recovering from. I'm like so exhausted. Okay, and then the third thing to consider, and maybe you already know this too, is, and it can be part of your goal or part of your mission, is what needs are you meeting? Like what value are your words bringing to the reader? And so I'm struggling with this one just a little bit, because obviously the nonfiction, I mean, I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory, and I've got a good idea about that one. But now that I want to branch out into fiction, what's the goal? What's the vision? Well, obviously to inspire creativity in young readers. But what value? Well, I hope to tell a good story, but I'm going to have to think a little bit about the value in that. Like, I want to inspire them. I want to encourage them. Not everyone is going to like your writing. Not everyone's going to want to buy your book. So keeping some of that in perspective. But so I think these are the foundations of, starting your author business or starting to write, like just getting an idea of what's going on inside of you. Like, where are you and who are you and what kind of author do you want to be? And so these are the things that I'm sitting with right now and kind of exploring. And Indie AuthorCon was really great. There was a lot of information. So in some ways it just added to my like TMI overwhelm kind of thing. But in other ways, I heard some things that kind of like hit me. And so if it hit me, I put a star by it. And I think if I just take the stars, everything I starred, and take a look at those things, that I'll probably be on the right track. So maybe that's what you need to do, is just sit down and write out a bunch of stuff, like considering where am I already at? What am I doing? Who am I talking to? What's my goal, my mission? What are the end results I want with my writing? And what value do I intend to bring with whatever I do write? And once we get those things a little more clarified and clear to ourselves, then it should be easier going forward, to share with others. So how do you write a book? There's no one way. There are so many options. And so going forward from here, we are going to talk about how to write a book. I'm going to share my process with you. I'm going to share the things that I learn, and we'll talk about foundations, and we'll talk about options. And then, you know what? We're going to work on honing where we're at and what we want and what we're going to use. And then we're just going to let the rest go. So I hope that it's helpful for you, and I imagine it'll be helpful for me. So thank you in advance. And if you would like to read anything by me, you could check out my website, sarahfenlonfalk.com. And I have both my nonfiction works there, and I have a short story that's geared towards parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. And it is a prequel to the Sage Cheval series, which is the middle grade fantasy work that I'll be publishing next year. So I've got some really exciting things coming down the line for the fantasy novels, and I just look forward to sharing those things. And if you're interested, you can go and look. Or if you know a young reader who might like a book about talking horses and princes and princesses, then you might want to check it out. So that is it. If you listened to this, if you watched this, if you found anything useful, if you have any questions or comments, if you think I'm scattered and ridiculous, leave a comment below. And I'll leave some links for you below too. Okay, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.